Hi guys, welcome back to the Female Genius podcast. My name is Jessie. I am your illustrious host, okay? And every so often, I love music, okay? I think we all love music. I think music and the love of music is a uniting factor across the world, okay? But I really love music. I'm not saying I like music better than you, but growing up, one of my absolute dreams was just music. Playing music, pursuing music. And while that dream has slowly withered down to a hilt, I think I find my joy in discovering amazing artists and falling in love with their music and hopefully interviewing them, which is what I did today. Okay, I had the amazing opportunity to interview up and coming singer-songwriter Iona Luke. I first discovered her on TikTok ages ago, and she was doing covers of the most beautiful songs. And her voice enchanted me so much that I went to try and find every single piece in her catalog, and every single piece of music she has released since then has been stuff of miracles and magic.
It gets me closer to you. I'm tearing down these mountain blues. Melody that fires your revolt. Paid for with all you've done. There's been whispers of my name. Maybe it's out of your mouth. Say it and the cold will catch you.
Her music is dramatic in the best way, with brilliant pieces of songwriting, and you can tell she's developing this distinct artistry, which is so unique and rare for somebody so young and so early on in their career. I'm so happy I got the opportunity to catch her this early before she absolutely blows up and becomes super duper massive to the point where it's like I'm just a speck in the dust of just staring up in the crowd in O2 being like, Iona! Iona! I have visions, guys. I can see the future. And so this conversation is absolutely amazing. It's intimate. She is so intelligent and so articulate. And even if you aren't a fan, which you'll probably be by the end of this episode, there is so much to gain about our interaction as human beings with art in of itself. And I think it's a phenomenal and fantastic conversation about creating your own path, carving out your own identity, the way in which we interact with art, and understanding how you go about pursuing your dreams if you want to pursue your dreams in this life. So without further ado, geniuses, I hope you enjoy this conversation. And if you like it, make sure you share it with all of your friends. Spread the word. Tell them, guys, there's a female genius on genius. There's a female genius on female genius. Female Genius. Yay! Iona, welcome to Female Genius. Thank you so much for coming onto the podcast. I am a massive fan. Like I said before, I started the recording and I'll continue to say it for the entire episode. I'm such a huge fan, so I have so many questions to ask today, and I'm so excited to get to know you a bit more. And I think my first question, when you are starting square one from writing a song, okay, I think I asked all of the people who are like musicians or write music this. Do you start with the instrumental or do you start with the lyrics?
I'm a lyric girly myself. Well, firstly, thank you for having me here. It's good to be here. I'm a lyric person. I started like everything starts with words. Some of my songs start as poems. See, that's the thing. I literally just mixed up the words for song and poem, which is just proving my point. Yeah, I'm a word person. Also, I'm just a better singer than I am. Like, obviously, I play guitar and piano, but singing is like my thing. So, yeah, words and melodies is, yeah, my thing.
And so, did you start like when you were younger? Did you start writing poems? Like, what got you into music in the first place?
I mean, obviously, like listening to music. My parents, no one in my family is a musician other than me. Like no one plays an instrument even. It's just like I'm just out here on my own. But yeah, like my parents love music. So it was like listening to vinyl. They have like a stupid collection of vinyl in our house. And yeah, so it was listening to it, and then it was like reading and I think I just loved singing, but I don't think I really connected like writing songs with, I don't think I connected like the reading word thing of loving to write with singing until I was like, well, this is going to sound young, but until I was like 12 or 13, probably. Yeah, and then everything just converged. So yeah.
Like melted pot
Hmm.
together. I
Hmm.
mean, I read somewhere that you love the piano, and I play the piano. I'm not that great, I'll be honest, but I think it's my favorite instrument to find and hear in songs. I feel like when you hear it in a song, it
Hmm.
just is like, oh. And a lot of your songs have really beautiful, in my opinion, and whoever disagrees with me is wrong, but in my opinion, has really beautiful piano parts, even if it's not the focus on the song. For like, for example, in Violence, like underneath all of the amazing layers of music, there are lots of intricate piano details. Is
Hmm.
this something that is just intentionally put in, or is it that when you're writing songs, you default to the instruments that you know and learn?
I think, yeah, that's definitely one of them. Also, like the most of the songs. So Back to Ground, I wrote in the studio in about like literally in like 3 hours. I just like went in and we just did it. But all the rest of my songs that are out right now, I'd written before I went into the studio to record them. And so it kind of depends on what I wrote the song on. So Violence, I wrote the song on piano, which is why it's kind of a more piano focused song. Same with Cowboy Boots. Even though it's like kind of country, you'd expect it to be a guitar, but I wrote that on piano. Which is why, honestly, like I just grew up playing piano. And so, and I'm getting, this is like a kind of weird thing. Like I'm getting so much better at guitar now. So, like, I have an EP coming out in summer and they're like all guitar
Oh,
songs because now I've just been playing guitar more recently and it's like coming out in the songs. And also Cowboy Boots, Violence, and 17, I made with a guy called Zach Lloyd, who's just an incredible piano player. And I try not to be a tyrant when I'm making my songs. Like, obviously, there's a way that I want them to sound, but there's no point in like bringing musicians in to help you make music if you're just telling them what to do. Like, I think it's really important that people connect to what they're playing and are a part of like the music making process. I'm not just telling them what to do. I'm like, play your instrument and like do it how you want to do it, you know? So
so
all those
yeah, that's so interesting because I mean, in all of the bands that I've been in, maybe this is why music is not a career for me because I'm absolutely the tyrant. I'm absolutely, this is what it sounds like in my head. And so, what is it like? Because, you're writing these songs as like poems and lyrics, and a lot of these lyrics feel quite vulnerable. And then to take them into a space where you're working collaboratively, like, what is that experience like? Was it weird? Is it strange?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like, again, so this EP that's coming out, so much of it is like unbelievably personal. And I was in the studio last week, and there's a lyric in this song called Crashing, which is coming out like later. And it's, I drank half a bottle of soap that day, but it didn't taste like the berry it showed on the label. And my band and my producer,
Mm.
Paul, were like, Iona, like literally, what the hell? Did you actually do that? And I was like, yes, I did, but let's not talk about it right now. And then it comes to like, and then when you submit a song to like DSPs to be released, you have to talk about what it's about. And I'm always like, like, how do I market a song about me being like unbelievably depressed? It's like, this is so insane. But yeah, I mean, I also like in writing sessions, I prefer people not to get involved in my lyrical. I mean, I'm super open to working with people and there are loads of geniuses out there, so I'm never going to be like, no, I'm not doing that. But I can be a little touchy about lyrics specifically. But music, I'm like, I want people to do their thing. If I think something doesn't sound right, I'll obviously say it, but I still want people to feel, if everyone feels connected to what they're playing, the song is always better. So yeah, I mean there's a lot, yeah, that all of those things going on all the time.
And when you're writing your songs, obviously anybody's experience when they listen to songs, they like kind of like print their own life onto it. So like I don't know, when I was listening to voices on the TV, I was like getting so emotional. I was like, I don't know, I have this thing where like I can't fall asleep without something playing in the background. I like
Mhm.
always have something like some random YouTube video playing in the background. And I was like, oh my God, even when I'm like really sad, I'm crying myself to sleep. Like, what do I listen to? And that's kind of where my brain took it. But
Mhm.
obviously, that might not, you might have a normal way of falling asleep. Like, that might not have been the way you leaned into the songs. So, where do you pull a lot of your inspiration from when you're writing songs?
Honestly, like, well, a lot of them are about me and how I feel, obviously. But actually, that song, I had a conversation with my friend, and she was like, I am so sad at the moment that I literally can't like go to sleep unless I have like Netflix going. And I had a really weird time in first year of Cambridge, actually, when I was just not having a very nice time. Obviously, like intense place, stuff happens. But and I literally just felt miserable. And like the first time I laughed in ages was watching New Girl. And I was like, this is so funny. Like I feel like it's such a universal thing, but I kind of try and keep some of my lyrics intentionally vague. And again, I'm always super tentative about explaining exactly what the songs are about because who am I to like dictate what people feel when they listen to music or my music or anything really? It's not for me to say. Like I'm gonna write what I write, and if people are interested in where it came from and how I feel about it, then obviously I'm super open. But I don't want to be a dictator about what people are supposed to feel when they listen to my music. Like what you felt is completely correct. Like the fact that you struggle to sleep without listening to something, that's exactly what the song is about because that's what you felt that it was about. Do you know what I mean?
I see, like you keep mentioning this phrase of I don't want to tell people how to feel about my music. Does this come from the way you relate to music personally yourself and how you engage with other people's music?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I struggle with it quite a lot because well, I'm going to link music and books in my head. Like my whole degree, I did English literature, was reading books and then kind of ignoring, well, thinking about how I feel about it and then reading up on loads and loads of stuff about what it's actually about and what other people think about it and academic breakdowns of everything. And I'm very conflicted about it because well now it's easier for me I've it's easier for me to separate music because I didn't study it at uni, but I definitely struggle with like an intellectual approach versus an emotional approach to like any art that I'm consuming. And I think it's been difficult post uni actually to detach from that when I'm reading books because I still love to read. So I'm, yeah. But music, definitely. I would never want anyone to tell me what to think about songs. I mean, I remember having a supervision at uni, and there was this poem. Um, what is it called? It goes, I'm just gonna say some, which is so embarrassing. It goes, "'Twas brillig in the slithy toads, did gyre and gimble in the wave." It's basically complete nonsense because it's about Alice in Wonderland. And
Okay.
one of my supervisors was like, no, well, we can understand exactly what this means. Like, you know that it's actually English. And I was like, no, I don't. So don't tell me that it's actually English because my mum used to say that to me as a kid and I don't want to know. So can you leave me alone? And I kind of feel the same about music. Like, if I listen to like Rumors by Fleetwood Mac, which is one of my favorite albums of all time, and someone tried to tell me that, you know, Go Your Own Way was about like this very specific relationship breakdown, I'd be like, well, I'm just gonna think what I want actually. Thank you very much. You know, it's a thing. It's like a whole confusing thing in my head to try and detach those two things. But yeah, long
I
answer.
mean, when you
Sorry.
no, don't. We like long answers. Long answers are detailed answers. They're good. I mean, I went to Cambridge too, but I studied the sciences. So kind
Yeah,
of a different track, but similar level of trauma, I like to say.
yeah,
I don't know.
definitely. Worse for
Um,
you than me, I think.
no, I feel like I love, again, like I love music and I love reading and I love all of those things. And I think I'm kind of grateful that I studied like sciences because all of those things still remain to me as pieces of enjoyment, if
Hmm.
that makes sense. And I find a lot of my friends who studied the arts or humanities, it's like to them everything. My friend's like, I can't watch a movie normally anymore. Like I can't read like I don't know Fourth Wing or some like
Yeah,
book without critically breaking it down.
I
And
know.
so in your experience studying Cambridge, what led you to decide to study English literature first of all? If you had this interest in music, why didn't you start going down the music route? Why didn't you study music? Why English literature in particular?
Well, like my life has been an interesting series of like push and pulls. I did like normal like GCSEs and A levels at school, and I've always been like really good at English. And my school was academically demanding, so throwing a curveball and going to music school or not going to uni was not normal in my circumstances. And yeah, I loved English. It's always been my favorite subject, really, and just coincidentally what I'm best at. And I think, do you know, it actually kind of was that when I did music A level, I was like, well, obviously the kind of music I do is not classical music. So studying it in a classical capacity as I would have done if I'd applied to Cambridge to do music was not, I had no interest in doing that, to be honest. But I did start my music career when I was about 15, 16. And then everything was kind of happening, and there were labels that were trying to contact me, and then COVID happened. And thank God it did, because if I had started then, I would have never like been where I am now. I would have never gone to Cambridge. I would have like probably messed up my A levels, and I'm super grateful that I didn't do that in the end. And then I applied to the Royal Northern College of Music to do their like popular music course, and I got in and then had a complete existential crisis. Had to take a gap year because I didn't know if I wanted to go to Cambridge or music school in Manchester, which my life would have been entirely different. And yeah, at the end of the day, I was like, I've already I in my gap year I worked on my music career in London, so I was like, and also the way that music functions now is that you very much get attached to a city. So it's like, I'm going to have to move my whole musical basis to Manchester if I do that, whereas Cambridge is 45 minutes on the train. And also, as a normal human being, Cambridge is like, you can't really say no. Do you know what I mean? And that's just what ended up happening. And as I said, like books and literature are an equal love in my life as music is. It's just not something that I saw my like life, it's not the direction I saw my life going in. I knew that I wanted to be a musician. It's just a bit of a detour. But yeah, it's all linked in my head. It's just, yeah, it's been a lot of, as I said, pushing and pulling and deciding what to do with my life. But
As
yeah,
most young people, I don't
yeah,
know. I feel like okay, this is so off topic. This was not a question I planned
no,
at
it's
all.
fine, go.
But I feel like I'm always curious about people who are like navigating their paths. Obviously, because I am also a young person navigating their path. And I'm always intrigued about people that enter paths with very different certainties, because music is such a difficult industry on so many levels, like even the making of it and like the production of it, and you know, mental health wise and emotional wise and whatnot. Um, was it just your love of music that was like, yeah, I'm gonna like solidly give it a go? Like, what was the thing that you think in your existential crisis moment was like, okay, I think this is what I want to try and pursue?
I mean, there were kind of obviously a few different factors. Like one of them was that my mum really wanted to be an artist, and my dad wanted to be a musician despite having literally no musical talent. He just thought that he could like shimmy and like be a front man in a band and wear like super tight leather trousers, and that was going to be like his thing. So they were both like, look, Iona, like you're going to regret it for the rest of your life if you don't just like try. But obviously I've curbed that risk by going to Cambridge, realistically. And I'm super grateful for that experience, and it has made me feel more comfortable. But then again, I literally have never even thought about what else I would do. Like people are like, what would you do if you weren't doing music? I have No idea because it's all I've wanted to do. So I've literally never even when I was at uni, I was coming back to London and doing sessions on weekends. Like it's always been what I've wanted to do. So yeah, and it is really scary. But I also think that people put way too much pressure on youth. Like I know so many family friends and people who are like 50 and have like changed career and are now having a great time. And I just don't think that you need to live one life. Like life is actually really long, and people think that youth is like more intense than it is. And obviously it's really scary and I'm going to try my best. But the way I make myself feel better is, I can have 15 jobs in my life. You know what I mean? Like I don't need to do
Yeah.
everything right now, you know?
And you're doing a brilliant job with the music thing, in my personal opinion. I think it's great. When you were in Cambridge, and you were like so like 100% with the music thing, um, do you think did people feel that it was a bit strange? Because I found that sometimes when I'd go to Cambridge and they're like, STEM student, it's like you do a PhD and you go into academia. And I remember in first year, I remember I was talking to my boss. I was like, I have zero interest in being in a lab. Like that sounds like a nightmare to me. And then he was just a bit like, I don't know. I think
Okay.
in the back of his head, he was like, maybe we made a wrong choice. I was like, I have no interest in sitting in the lab all day. That's not my cup of tea of why I'm here. So
Mm.
when you went to people, I was like, hey, music is my thing, and that's what I'm doing, and that's what I'm pursuing. But I love English, and I want to study that. Were you met with any sense of what is she doing here?
Yeah, I think so. And also like over like a bit of guilt being like there could be a young publisher somewhere that deserved my space as much as I did, but you kind of just can't really think like that because I did try unbelievably hard to get in and worked really hard when I was there, never missed a deadline, like did all my exams, tried super hard. Um, so in a way, like I just can't really think like that. But I do think, and also to be fair, like a big part of my life is songwriting. And for example, like I don't have a record deal, I don't work with a record label, but I do have a publishing deal. And so
Mm,
whenever I say that to people, they're like, what do you mean? Publishing companies are for like books. But no, actually, songwriting is a publishable form of writing too. And so it's actually not as disparate as people think that it is. And when my director of studies, when you get close to graduating, obviously they're like, so what do you want to do? I was like, well, I'm going to be a musician and I'm going to keep songwriting. And she was actually super supportive and was like, that's really cool and like different. And yeah, and they were supportive of my dissertation being about, well, obviously they were like, this can't be about music. And I was like, it's not going to be about music, trust me. And
it was on Patti Smith, right?
yeah, and I was like, it's about words, so don't worry. And they were like, that's completely fine then. So actually, once I explained it, everyone kind of understood, I think.
About your dissertation on
Mhm.
Patti Smith.
Yeah.
Okay, again, it's really weird sometimes doing interviews because I'm like, I know all of these things about you that I've plucked from the internet. We've never met before. But I mean, I know you did your dissertation on Patti Smith and how a lot of people look at her songwriting as autobiographical. So like, and you see that with a lot of female artists. Like, Taylor Swift releases a song, which X is this about?
Mhm.
But somebody else, like a male artist, will write a song, and it's like this is like some great commentary on society and thingy like that. And so, what
Mhm.
pulled you in that direction? And what did you take away as a musician after you did the whole dissertation?
I think I'll ask the second question first, which
Okay.
is the thing I took away, which was just that I don't like owe anyone information about my life. Like I, work really hard and obviously social media is a huge thing now where people kind of just expect you to be like giving them content, which ultimately are just bits of your life, and that's completely fine. But I mean, everyone's so angry about Chapel Roan for this recently, and I think she could be handling it better, but also it's kind of a smear campaign. Anyway, I just do think that in the past musicians were afforded this kind of like mystique and mysteriousness, and it was like part of what was so fun about it and what created communities. And I do think like some of Taylor Swift's community, and some people do this now, but part of what made it so fun is a new song coming out and everyone sitting down and being like, so like let's look at this and let's analyze it. That is literally English literature. But for the music fans out there, you're basically an analyst. And that was what was so great about it. And people didn't have to go on TikTok and you take 30 seconds and tell people exactly what the song was about and do lyric breakdown. And it's all a big thing because critical thinking is massively on a decline in the world, which we're seeing in basically every sector of the universe and politics and everything, and also now in art. And everything links together. So that's what I took from it. And the first part, what was the first part? I can't even remember now.
It was what drew you to Patti Smith to talk about her writing in
Yeah.
particular.
So I don't know if you've heard her song Land. It's a really
Mhm.
long, really intense song. And I heard it and it like changed my life. And I was like, this is so amazing. Um, and I then was like, I want to read about it because I want to know what people think. I mean, I already had, see, this is again like the complicated thing of do you look it up or do you not? But I looked it up and I read so much about it. And everyone was just talking about her life. And I was like, so she's created this like incredibly detailed mythical landscape of materiality and immateriality, and you're like, okay, so how does this relate to her life? And I understand that that's complicated because a part of the reason she's successful is because of Just Kids and all of her autobiographical writing, but I just found it really annoying. And I did my diss in my second year. I'm rearranging. I did my diss in my second year on Daphne du Maurier and Rebecca, and all of I saw so many interviews, and every single time she was interviewed, people would go, "Is this about your husband?" And it's like, no, I've written this tale, this amazing tale, and everyone just was like, "Well, who's this about?" It's the same way, like Alice in Wonderland is one of my favorite books of all time. Say what you want about Lewis Carroll, like not the best guy, but no one was like, "Okay, so what's Alice in Wonderland about? Like, why did you write about a little girl? Like, is this some like Freudian thing, or is like what's gone on in your head? Like what's wrong with you?" And no, I don't know why. I don't know what it is. Maybe because women have kind of subconsciously been linked to this domestic idea, or maybe people just think that they can take whatever they want. But it happens. I mean, literally, anyone like just go and look at your favorite piece of art by a woman and see what questions she gets asked, and then look at your favorite piece of art by a man and see what questions they get asked. And I just think like we're not allowed the same imaginary world for some reason, and that's kind of what I was thinking about.
And you know what? If you take it like a little bit further as well, in the way that female artists and women who make art are held to an unrealistically high standard, to the point where not that I reward or like celebrate anybody doing something bad, but when a man does something bad, it's always like we can separate the art from the artist. Whereas when a woman does something bad, it's so entangled with who she is as a person, and there is never this conversation of, oh, but we can separate the art from the artist. It's like, but no, because she made this art because of this and that, and that whole conversation of the standards that women are held to. I personally, I connect the dots in my head, so I think it's really interesting. Before we finish up, I have two more questions. Okay. The first thing actually is quite linked to this idea of social media and like creating and stuff for the algorithm. And one thing I noticed when I was listening to your music is how much it rewards like attention, in the sense, as in like, if you're not paying attention and you're listening to it in the background while you're doing things, you miss so many moments. But whenever I'm like sitting down or like I'm on a walk and I play your song, you're rewarded so much from the layers and the details that you put it into the song. But sometimes I can understand that in this term of virality and this age of wanting to get like the best like pieces to like blow up. Even sometimes when I make podcast episodes and I have to clip it, I like hate clipping it because I'm like,
Yeah.
you're missing all of the great
Yeah.
conversation and I'm trying to find 20 seconds to hook your attention. Do you feel this pressure when you make music? And is this something that you think about or intentionally try not to think about when writing?
I have to try not to think about it. Um, Especially because my opinion is not the same as the listeners. Like sometimes I'll write a line and I'll be like, "Oh my God, like you've just written a banging line, Iona, like well done." And then no one will notice it. And I'm like, "Okay, never mind." So yeah, I try not to think about it. And do you know what? I think it's obvious when people do. Like you can tell when people are like there's a clickbait line or they've written in a line specifically about like the outfit that you're wearing and they just want everyone on TikTok to like fit check to this bit of their song. Do you know what I mean? And I think
Mm.
clever marketing can happen and that's, you know, amazing, but I would never write with the intention of something being marketed because then I would lose my mind, probably.
And that's amazing. Okay, so before we finish up, first of all, I'm coming to your live show. I've got two tickets, one for me and my friend on the 10th of June, and I'm
Yay!
so excited.
That's so
Um,
exciting.
I didn't
And then
do
I
it.
can
I got
ask
it.
you questions about you because it's so like I always find this. I'm like, obviously my job is a job in which I have to answer a lot of questions about myself, and I'm always like, I want to ask questions, but I know that it's
Oh my God, you can ask me a question, of course.
what did you even study?
I study natural sciences.
Oh, you're a Natski. Good God,
I
poor
am
you.
a Natski. I studied Natski. I specialized in chemistry in third year. I flopped my last exam,
Real.
so I
Don't even
couldn't
do this.
do
Fine.
the fourth year. And so I took a gap year, and now I'm currently doing my master's in neuroscience in London. Um, Again, like this whole science route, because during my gap year, I interned at a neurotech company, and
Mm.
that was really cool. But I love talking to people, and I love interviewing people, and I have too many opinions to keep them to myself.
Yeah,
So
but
that's
that's
why I
so
have this
great.
podcast.
Like you're just accessing two different parts of your brain and you can do them at the same time. That's so nice.
Yeah,
Oh, good for you. That's so impressive. What uni you at now?
for my Queen Mary's. So the vibes are so different. It's like Cambridge is like academic excellence and everybody's proper stiff. And here everybody's like so relaxed. Like the lectures are so laid back.
Really?
Everybody's so it's a nice, it's different. Like both of them have their pros and cons for obvious reasons.
Mm.
But it's probably like the most relaxed I've ever felt in an academic setting in my life.
So good though. Like what a relief. It's so good. Also, I guess if you're doing a master's, they know you're interested in what you're doing, so they don't really need to push you as much. It's like I'm here because I want to be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like I'm paying money to be here. So like yeah, I'm loving it. But my final questions, well, they're
Yeah.
not really questions. We're gonna play Save the Album. So I'm
Okay.
gonna give you two albums and you're gonna pick which one you save and the
Okay.
other one disappears
Yeah.
forever.
Fun. Okay.
Okay. I've tried to make this kind of difficult a little bit. Um, so we first of all we have Jeff Buckley Grace
Hmm.
versus Patti Smith Horses.
Oh, this is an impossible question.
I was like, how can I make it as hard? I'm a big Jeff Buckley fan. I'm a very massive Jeff Buckley fan. So I defaulted to Jeff Buckley, but I started listening to the Patti Smith Horses album. And I was like, wait a minute, I feel like
It's
this
not
is
easy
this.
listening though. Like I think to choose to like have a nice time and listen to music, obviously Jeff Buckley is the answer, but like I am emotionally and academically and intellectually stimulated by Patti Smith's album. So that's what I'd save because I can think about it more.
Okay, you have like so many things to turn over.
Yeah, well
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so the next one, Amy Winehouse, Back to Black, or because I know this was your first vinyl, Lana Del Rey, Norman fucking Rockwell. Which one are you
Everyone's gonna
saving?
hate me, but I'm choosing Lana. Sorry, I'm not really an Amy girl. I mean, I love her, and this feels so bad as like a Londoner that went to school in North London. But I am, yeah, I love Amy. I love her songs, but I'm not like a diehard Amy girl. Sorry, everyone.
Are you a diehard Lana girl?
Not even. Like, I don't know that I like the connotations of being a diehard Lana girl, but I love her music. I kind of am, I guess. But yeah, I
Do you
kind of
think this is such a side note, but do you think like if you could pick one artist to make like the soundtrack of your life, obviously you're making your own soundtrack, but if you could pick another artist that like could soundtrack your life, who would you pick?
it would be Stevie Nicks. Because she
Ooh,
can do like extreme joy and like real sad stuff, you know?
the complete layers. I
Yeah.
don't know who I would pick. I wrote this question down and I've been agonizing over this question
Like
like
who? I have no idea. Yeah, I don't
since
know. I think it would have to be Stevie Nicks.
final one. Um Radiohead, OK Computer versus Green Day, American Idiot.
Radiohead.
Yeah, I picked Radiohead too.
It's gotta be Radiohead. Love Green Day though. They had one of the best shows I've ever been to.
Oh, I love going to concerts, but I think I've missed out on all of my faves. So right now I'm like trying to catch up
Mhm.
concert wise.
I don't know.
Um,
I'm kind of like I don't really like the big stuff anymore. I prefer like the little shows at the moment. Just because you
it's
spend so
more
much
intimate.
money and then you're just like waiting there. You know what I mean? You can never even see them. It's like the vibe is weird. I don't know.
Who's your favorite person that you've seen live?
Mm, Green Day were like just their energy was so good. Like they're not in my like top artists list, but I thought they were amazing. Florence the Machine was so good when I saw her. Noah Kahan was amazing when I saw him. It's quite a lot of, there's a few people, few
Um,
people.
I'm trying to think. I'm going to see The Neighborhood on Friday. I'm
Mhm.
very excited. Who's the best concert I've been to? So this is why I don't answer my own questions. This is
So,
your
like,
interview. I can't answer. I
sometimes I
can't
just
answer.
say stuff though, because I know I have to, and then I'm like, why did I say? Like, I was on the BBC doing like the radio, so I literally like, there's no way you can take that back. And they did like quick fire questions. They were like, ideal live venue, and I said Wembley. I was like, why have I said that? Like, what a gross answer. Like, obviously it's not Wembley. I still don't know what my answer is, but I was like, oh, I've just embarrassed myself like so publicly. Like, this is so gross. But
But like
anyway.
that's like the biggest venue. So I get like it would make sense as like an artist. Like that's like the peak of
Yeah,
venues.
that's why it just like came out the top of my head, but it's not true. Like I didn't really care about Wembley. Like economically would be quite nice to play Wembley, but otherwise I'm like, why would I want to play Wembley? It's like kind of horrible, you know?
Well, thank you so much for your time. I can't wait for your live show. So
I just
anybody
can't wait
that's
to meet you
listening,
in person. It's gonna be so nice.
yes, I feel like it's again, this is like the first podcast I've done where I haven't met the person before. Like a lot of
Really.
the times I'm like this is so narcissistic. I just bring my friends on or like people that I've worked with and I'm like so let's pretend to be professionals here and let's ask lots of
Yeah, but
questions.
obviously you think your friends are interesting people. Like I definitely do the same thing, honestly.
Yeah. But it would be so cool to meet you in person and to hear your music live. I'll be singing along to everything. And your EP, I'm super excited. I was gonna
I'm so
ask, like,
excited.
are we gonna get more stuff this year? But we are. Do you have a release date yet?
I don't, well, it's coming out like in bits. So I have a song coming out, like the first track is coming out soon, and then the rest of it's
Oh,
coming out in July, I think. Well, it kind of depends because it's not done yet. So we'll see how many times I change my mind about things. Basically, depends on when it comes out. And then, so yeah, it's going to be one first single and then three middle tracks dropped together, and then one final song dropped on its own, which is kind of weird, but it's just the way that we've done it. So yeah, it's
I'm
exciting.
super excited. Okay, thank you so much for coming on and thank you so much for listening. I'm gonna put all of the links in the comments and also links to the live show so we can like sell it out and so
Yay!
we can have like 25 more.
Mhm.
Female genius.